Lights.
Camera. Action!
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Campus Quarter here on Student Spin. I'm your host, Wesley Van Leuven, and I'm joined here today by the president of the Film Society here at Georgia Highlands College, Stephen Burris.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here, Stephen. Here at Georgia Highlands College, there are many outlets that allow you to express your creativity. However, there's only one that allows you to express your creativity through the screen, and that is the Georgia Highlands Film Club. Stephen is here to tell us what that club is about and give us some insight on the exciting productions they have coming up here at Georgia Highlands College. Now, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you can get involved in the club?
So I joined the film club back in 2022, which has been 4 years. So if I didn't like the club, I would have gotten out a long time ago. But hey, I've stuck it out 4 years, so that means there is something here. And what there is here is a passion for creativity and a passion for filmmaking. So if you want to create anything in the digital medium, a short film or a skit, or just anything you want to show on the screen, the film club here at Georgia Highlands is really the best place to do that. And for me, I've gotten a lot of experience with a variety of filmmaking techniques, because when you get on set, you do cinematography, you do sound, you do lighting, because it's not just the same thing again and again. You're constantly doing new things, learning new ways to be creative, learning new ways to tell stories.
I love that. That's a great answer. I appreciate that. Now, as you had mentioned, you joined the club back in 2022, and as we know, it's 2026. And as you said, that's 4 whole years. Now, can you tell us what some of your experiences have been like, and how it's benefited you here at Georgia Highlands College?
It's very easy to just get swept up in the stress and the chaos of just taking classes. Not to say it's boring, but it can be very tedious if you're only doing classwork at college. You need something to just have fun and
to help balance it out.
Yeah, to do stuff with your friends. And the film club is a way to learn while at the same time just having fun. Because, filmmaking, at the end of the day, it's a very fun form of work, if that's what you're interested in. Because if you love film, if you love creating stories, telling stories, then film club is not even going to feel like a class or work. It's just a chance to hang out with your friends, in a way de-stress from all the classes and your heavy class load. So honestly, joining film club is good not just to help grow your creativity, but just to enjoy your time at college. You don't have to make college a boring, tedious experience that you're not going to want to remember fondly. So do some things that are going to make it a pleasant experience, things that you're going to look back on and be like, I'm glad I did that in my college years. So if you're a filmmaker, being in the Highlands Film Society is definitely going to be one of those things.
Oh, absolutely, definitely. Now, as a president, how has that experience been for you? Is it fun? Is it easygoing, stressful, hard? How would you describe it?
It makes me want to have a heart attack. I'm kidding. Not actually. No, it's a lot of fun, but I'm definitely glad that I have an officer team to help me out. Without the vice president and the secretary and the treasurer, I would not want to run this all by myself. It would be too much. It'd be too crazy. And yeah, I'm just glad that as president, I'm not stuck doing it alone. I have a team to work with me. And not just the officers, but everybody in the club. We're always working together. Making films is a collaborative effort. When it comes to writing, we all kind of share ideas, bounce ideas off of each other. When we're filming on the set, we're not just focused on, hey, this is what I want to do, and we're only going to do that. We'll talk about it. If someone has inspiration to maybe take a different direction, we'll listen to that, consider it. And that's what really makes it, I guess, bearable being the president, is the weight of the world is not on my shoulders. We're all sharing this together, and it makes it where I will not have a heart attack. And I'm very thankful for that.
So teamwork makes the dream work, as they say.
Cliche.
But true.
But true, yeah.
Now, let's talk about something that's exciting that's coming up this semester for the club. Would you share with us what that is?
So we made lots of short films over the years, but coming up later this semester, we're going to be making our very first full-length project, quote-unquote, a feature film. And I say that lightly because it's going to be the same scale as a short film in terms of its production, but it's not going to be 15 minutes. It's going to be a full, little over an hour plus in terms of the narrative.
Ooh.
And it's called Precious Rose. It is a detective mystery musical. Since I've written the script, I've also added songs because I personally love music. It's a hobby of mine, writing music,
Who
writing
doesn't
lyrics.
love music?
So it is a musical mystery movie, and I have a summary if you want to hear a brief synopsis of the plot.
Please.
When a town local's beloved artwork is stolen from a museum, renowned investigator Detective Lockett takes on 2 apprentices to assist in solving the case. But what first seems to be a small-scale assignment soon spirals into a captivating adventure full of mystery, romance, and music. It's a journey that challenges their skills, but even more so, their hearts.
That sounds amazing. And that's just a perfect example of your creativity being brought to life on the screen for the club, correct?
Yes, using the club for what it's intended for, coming up with something creative and then bringing that to life.
Now, could you tell us a little bit about what the writing process was like as you were making this? Like ever since going from an idea down to a script and now being in pre-production itself.
So a couple years ago, 2023, I wrote and directed my first short film here in the club called The Changeable, which was also a musical short. There were a couple songs in it because that's my style.
Of course.
And when we wrapped, I knew that I would want to make another film project. The experience to write and direct was a lot of fun. So I knew I wanted to do it again, but I didn't have a specific topic or an idea that I knew I'd want to pursue. So I just continued to work on other people's productions, on the crew, doing editing. And in the back of my mind, I knew that I'm sure I would recognize when inspiration hits me. So in the beginning of 2024, I was working on one of our short film sets, and I met a journalism student here at Georgia Highlands, Anna Crucell. She is, in real life, striving to be an investigative journalist. And she is also an actress, because on this short that I was working on, she was playing one of the characters. And I thought she was very talented and did a great job of playing a believable role. And so I thought, for whenever I do make another film project, she could make a great choice for an actress. She's really good at what she does. So the year went on. I didn't really have any specific inspiration, but instead I started having, a consideration. Because here at Georgia Highlands, we have lots of equipment, lots of high-class cameras and gear, and we've used them to make a lot of shorts. So theoretically, if we use the same production scale and the same resources, what's to say we couldn't shoot something a little longer to write a longer narrative? Because we have the resources to do that. And so I thought, maybe the next project that I write doesn't have to be a short. It could be something a bit longer. But of course, I would need a story, which I still didn't have. Now, going off of that, my late grandfather was a pen and ink artist, and we have a lot of prints of his work in my family. And for the past couple of years, I've been thinking it would be nice to showcase those in one of our films, use our film projects to just pay homage to his work, basically.
Oh, yeah.
And so I started thinking, there could be a premise for a film that revolves around the artwork. It could be maybe a display in a museum. And that's when I started actually coming up with a plot, where it would be a thief stealing these art pieces from a museum, and we would then follow a detective trying to solve this case, stolen artwork that needs to be retrieved. It would showcase my grandfather's art, and I think it would be a really fun and exciting plot. And I was like, hey, this sounds good. This could be a starting point for writing up the whole story. So I decided a mystery detective film would be the genre of this long-form film project. And I, of course, would then need an actor or an actress to play a lead detective. And that's when I thought back to Anna, who in real life is pursuing investigative journalism, and she's an actress. I mean, obviously, investigative journalism and being a police detective is not the exact same thing, but there are some crossing similarities. So I thought she could put some of that of herself into her character and make it more authentic and real to her and more believable. So I was like, hey, this is a perfect scenario altogether. I spent quite a few months writing up the story while making sure each scene would be shootable with what we have. And now the script is finished, so we're currently in pre-production, scheduling to start shooting later in the spring. There are a few issues at the moment getting supporting actors, but we're still a couple months out, so we've got time to iron out some of the issues. Because if you have everything worked out ahead of time, it's just going to make everything much easier. And there are some sub-layers to the plot with some morals and messages that I may touch on in a little bit, but I don't want to spoil too much. But,
you want to keep some of that mystique there, right?
It's a mystery film, so let's keep it mysterious.
Let's keep it that way, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, what are some of the most important things that have helped you during the writing process?
So, what I would consider to be the most important things are what's, I think, the most important things for any writer, anyone who's making something creative, specifically in our film club, but also just in any area of filmmaking or storytelling. And those are three different points: logistics, character, and story. I think those three are essential to writing a good story and writing it to where you can actually create it. The big thing about making it doable is those logistics. Because when writing this script, like I said before, I wasn't just writing the story as grand or insane as it could be. I was doing so with the mindset, this is going to be a college film. We're not collaborating with a studio or an indie studio. This is literally the most indie that you could get, college students. So there's hardly any budget. We only have the people here at Georgia Highlands, but we've got very talented people at Georgia Highlands. We've got very good gear. So just keeping that in consideration. Because like I said before, this is technically, quote unquote, a feature, but that's kind of misleading because when you say feature film, people think of maybe a big blockbuster or studio movie. It's not going to be that. It's going to be like shooting 4 to 5 short films back to back because the sets, the set design, the requirements, it's nothing beyond what we're capable of and what we've done before. It's just going to be a little bit more and part of the same narrative. So when it's all said and done, each shoot is going to be edited together into the same story. But it's not doing something that's impossible for the club. We've done this before, just on individual scales. So I think logistics is very important to consider. Even when you get into the bigger part of the industry in a studio, you're still not going to have unlimited resources. So know what you have and allow your creativity to flow through that. Don't limit yourself just because you may not have certain resources. You can get creative, if you need certain props or certain things that would be too expensive if you got the real thing, find a way around it. Find some way to fake it on the screen. Like storytelling is a way to express your own creativity, your own take on something. So you don't have to follow all the rules. If you can find a way around it that's interesting and unique, that honestly makes it even better. So it really is not as daunting as it may seem when you first describe it. Now, the other two concepts of character and story, they basically go hand in hand because you want a character that the audience could be engaged with, someone they can connect to. And then you also need that character to live through an engaging story, something that is their backstory, how they got to where they are in the film, something they can live through during the film. And also you need to consider what may happen after the film because that'll give them motivation for what they're doing in the film.
Yeah.
So the character and story are really one entity while also being their own separate things at the same time. So when writing the character of Detective Rebecca Lockett, I knew that I would want Anna as the actress to be the one portraying her. So when writing Rebecca, I made sure that there was both similarities that Anna could connect with, but also some open-ended areas that could be taken and molded into something new, unique, and original. Like I said before, Anna's pursuing investigative journalism, so some of those same passions and interests can carry over into this character of Rebecca. There's a lot that I really admire about Anna as a person. She's very passionate about what she loves. She's very engaged with it. She's a strong-willed leader, grounded in her beliefs and her values, very kind and a beautiful personality. So those are qualities that I put into the character of Rebecca. And because those are core things about Anna, she can connect to Rebecca through that. But that's just Rebecca's foundation. Following that, then comes the part of writing the original, unique areas of Rebecca's personality. The motivation for Rebecca being a police detective, the reason she's where she's at in the film, the reason she wants to get somewhere in particular. And so I think that's very good for Anna as an actress, being able to connect to some similarities, but also there's this open mold that she can then take and create as her own, sort of make something new. Because if I'm correct, you've done theater in the past, so you have experience with when you act, you want to connect to your character, but at the same time, play as someone else, a chance to be make-believe, essentially.
Yeah, you want to be able to connect to your character, but you also want to make sure that you make it your own.
Because if you're not making it your own, you're not acting. And that's the fun thing with acting is you're being someone else. You're playing make-believe.
That's the fun part.
Yeah, what makes film fun.
Exactly, yeah. Now, as you had mentioned earlier, you wrote the music to this.
The reason that I love music in film, musicals specifically, is using music as a storytelling method. So having songs that are not just there for the sake of having a song, but them being incorporated into the plot. So there are key parts of this story that are conveyed through the lyrics of the song, but there are also some motifs in the melodies that repeat throughout the film and are connected to certain characters or events or emotions. So say here at the beginning of the film, you have a certain melody that plays, and it's playing over a particular scene of particular emotion. Then 30 minutes later, that same motif appears again in the music, and it's a different type of sequence. But because you previously associated that motif with this previous scene, now you're subconsciously putting that same emotion in your mind while watching a different scene. And it really adds a fourth dimension to storytelling, because what you visualize on the screen is just one way to convey the story. But I love being able to use the music because really it makes you get involved with the story on a level beyond just consuming the media. This sounds weird, but it's flowing through your brain, if that makes sense.
Music has a lot of effects psychologically.
Yes, sometimes it's best to show and don't tell. And with music, you're not even showing, you're just, in a way, just feeling. And that's what I love about telling story through music, and that's why I can't help but put some songs into my projects, because I think it's a beautiful way to tell a story.
I agree. Absolutely.
Before we wrap up, I will share a little bit about some of the morals and the message of this film. Because one of the things that I love about storytelling is being able to give something to the audience that they can take away. You can have comedies that just make people laugh. You can have scary horror movies that make people jump. But what I love to do in my stories that I tell is to give the audience something that they can apply to their life. Because I don't think a movie is going to change you forever. Like going to the cinema is going to be the life-changing experience that makes you a new person compared to who you were before. I don't think that's how it works. But what I do think is you can walk out of the cinema with a new thought, a new perception on something. So with this film, one of the messages I want to bring awareness to is the media's objectification of women. Because I'm going into a digital media career. So I'm constantly involved with media, seeing things online. And I think we can both agree that there is a lot of inappropriate stuff that's just circulating through the media, specifically around the objectification of women. And, it's disgusting to see because sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, please, why did you do that? Don't do that. That's wrong. And I don't want to preach this over the head in this film because I don't want this to be a TED Talk, essentially. But this is a very subtly interwoven message within the plot. I'm not going to spoil how it's connected to solving the theft of artwork, because that may not at first glance feel like a message that would fit that type of film. But when you watch and see, you'll see how the connection is there. And I think it's important to bring awareness around this, just to be truthful about it, how wrong it is to view someone objectively and not see the humanity. Because if, just say we did that on the film crew, we didn't care about others as people, it would be a terrible environment. As the director, you would look at your cinematographer and you'd be like, shoot the shot, shoot the shot. I don't care how you're feeling, just shoot the shot, get it done. You tell your production assistants, get me coffee, hurry. Where's the coffee? It should have been here 5 minutes ago, even though I told you 1 minute ago.
Where's my hot chocolate?
Yeah, it's just, when you stop viewing people as people, everything can crumble from there. And objectification is just one of many things in the world where we're losing humanity. And I think we need to remind ourselves we're all human. We all have talents and passions within ourselves. And that's who we are. That's what makes us beautiful. And so if this film can just, at the very least, get people thinking about it, bring awareness around this, I think that's going to make it worth it. The entire production process is worth it for the audience impact. And connected to that, a second moral in this film is the contrast, the difference between love and abuse. Because I feel like in society today, we can kind of mix the two together. There's kind of thoughts that, oh, you should not pursue a relationship. It will hold you back. It's going to ruin you from reaching your dreams or pursuing your career. So there is a specific line of dialogue that I do want to share from the script. I'm not going to share who says it or how it's connected to the plot because that would spoil it. But there is a piece of dialogue in the film that I think is very important for us to take away. And the dialogue goes, "Love is not a prison. Abuse is a prison. Love is a free and beautiful thing." And I think that is very important to remember because people could be scared to love or afraid of wanting to feel love because of stories and things you see and you hear or maybe know firsthand where there's been abuse or trauma. And to that I say, abuse is not love, because if someone is willing to disregard your humanity or view you objectively relating to the previous moral, I mean, love is not going to be involved in that. So even if maybe you love somebody, but they're not treating you with love, that's not worth pursuing. That's not worth putting your life into. If that's happening in your life, find a way to get out of it and get it out of your life. It's not healthy. But real love is not going to control you or manipulate you or tell you you're going to have to be this way. You're going to have to do all of this. Like, love is again, a team effort. It's what I hope that we in the film club share with each other, is a love for filmmaking and a love for each other, because that's what allows us to connect. Even if we have different opinions or disagreements on certain visions for a film or even more serious topics, we have a shared connection through our love of film. And so that goes into even deeper things like relationships. If you really share the deepest values and the deepest passions together, that's what love is. And to say all that, yes, this is a musical film about solving a mystery of artwork that's stolen. You may be wondering how those messages connect to this, but it's interwoven in I think, a very interesting way that is going to hopefully get audiences to start thinking on some things and ponder some new perspectives. And that's what I want this film to do. That's the reason to make it, is to give something to the audience.
Absolutely. I can just tell, just by you sitting here today and hearing what you said about this film, it's going to be very impactful to every single listener. I can't wait to see this project come together. And now, as we wrap up this episode, there's just one last thing I want to ask you. What is the most important thing you've learned from being in the film club?
To reiterate what I've been saying, it's teamwork. I think not having a team, not having people who can be there for you and help you create what you want to create, I think that is essential to being a creative, to being a storyteller, and to just being who you want to be in life. I would not want to go through my life on my own. In my career, in my family life, I don't want to face something by myself. And I think Film Club is a great starting ground to realize there's people who love the same thing you love. There's people who want to tell stories like you. And so if you want to tell a story, you're not going to have to do it by yourself. And you're not going to want to do it by yourself. Like I said before, I would not want to do all of this by myself. It would suck. It would be very difficult and lonely. But having this team here, I think the Highlands Film Society is just a great place to be with like-minded people, to be involved with that teamwork. And it's why I've stayed around for 4 years. You learn who you can get along with and who you can't. And when you find those people that you can get along with, that you do connect with, don't turn away from them. Let them into your life. Let them help you with what you love. Let them become a part of your life. And that's what I'll say to anybody who wants to join the Film Society. Don't worry about doing this alone. You're going to be with a team. You're going to be with a bunch of great people. And it's going to be a phenomenal experience at Georgia Highlands.
Yeah. So basically, Film Club is a great place to find the people that get you.
It doesn't matter where you come from when it comes to filmmaking. Filmmaking is cross-cultural. It's something that we can all relate to. We all tell different stories, different types of stories. Some people want to make a comedy film that's not a heart-wrenching message, and that's great. We need those films too. People want to make spooky films that are going to make you jump, and that's great too. People love to get a thrill. And that's what's great about so much variety being part of similarity. We all want to tell stories. We all want to create. But we all want to tell different stories and create in different ways.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. That means there's no excuse for not joining the film club. Now, sadly, it's come time for us to end our episode. First off, we would like to thank you, Stephen, again for being here today with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate being here.
Again, thank you. Now, we would also like to thank you all for joining us today on this episode of Campus Corner. I've been your host, Wesley Van Leuven, and I've been joined by Stephen Burris, the president of the Film Society. Thank you all very much again. Have a blessed day.
Woo! See you next time.
See you next time.
And
cue the music.